What's up guys, it's Robin and welcome to my channel. Well, that white fluffy stuff has started to fly, so that means it's time to start decorating those trees and baking up those sweets, and boy do I have something sweet planned for you. Today we are going to be recreating a very popular Christmas treat, but with a twist. We are going to be making a homemade Little Debbie's Christmas tree ice cream cake. So we're starting out with a pre-leveled 9 by 13 inch double batch vanilla cake layer, which I am torting into 2 separate layers so we can add a nice thick layer of ice cream in between. And now, using this very simple Christmas tree stencil that I've drawn up and cut out, we're going to place that on top of our cake, and using a sharp knife we're going to cut all the way around our pattern and pull away all those scraps of cake that we don't need. And you're going to want to be sure that you cut all the way down through to the bottom before you pull those cake scraps away, just so you don't tear your cake apart. I actually find it really helpful when you're doing any kind of cutting or carving of a cake to use really cold or almost even frozen cake layers, because that's going to firm everything up nicely for you and help you keep its shape and keep it from crumbling while you're trying to cut it, which is super helpful because we all know carved cakes are difficult enough as it is. But luckily, so far this one has been really simple and super fun, and I really hope you guys all like the idea. So if you do, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button too. And guys, I would love to hear from you. So if you have any great caking ideas you would love to see me create over this holiday season or any time of year, drop me a comment down below. I can't wait to hear from you. Alright, back to the cake. So we're just going to take that first layer of cake, and using a little bit of buttercream we're going to attach that to our cake board, which is also been cut into a tree shape. And now, before we fill our layers, we are going to take this fabric piping bag and we are going to prep our ice cream to fill our layers. So I've softened my ice cream just a little bit and I've stirred it up really well, so it should be a good consistency for piping. So we're going to get our piping bag filled up so we can fill these layers. Now, if you don't have a fabric piping bag, a plastic one will do, but a fabric one is going to be much more helpful in keeping the heat from your hand from distributing to the ice cream and melting it before you even get it on the cake. Because that just won't do. What we're going for is more of a soft serve texture, not a melty mess. Alright, now that we have our piping bag filled, it is time to finally fill those layers. Now we're going to give our piping bag a twist to bring that ice cream to the tip, and then using a slow, even, and steady pressure, we are going to pipe an outline all the way around the outside of the cake. And once you finish the outline, you're going to use that same technique to fill in the center. Now, if you don't have any piping bags whatsoever, that's not a problem. You can still recreate this cake. You're just going to have to scoop the ice cream on and spread it out using an offset spatula relatively quickly before the ice cream starts to melt. Now, if you do find it starting to melt, you can always pop it back into the freezer for a few minutes and then start working on it again. Now, using my small offset spatula, we're going to ever so slightly smooth out this layer of ice cream, working fairly quickly to fill in any empty spaces or smooth out any lumps, bumps, or imperfections, because we want a nice, smooth, even surface for our top layer of cake to sit onto, which we are now going to stick into place. Now I'm going to pop this puppy into the freezer for about an hour, but it could take up to maybe 2 depending on the temperature of your freezer. Now, once your cake is fully frozen and all firmed up, it is time for that outer layer of icing. So I filled up a piping bag full of white American buttercream, and we're just piping on a nice thin, even layer all around the outside of the cake first. Now I'm doing the outside first, and I'm choosing this technique because it's probably the quickest technique we can use to get this cake fully covered before the ice cream starts to melt. Now, once you have all of your sides covered and before you start filling in the top, you're going to want to start smoothing out the buttercream around the sides, because your cake is actually so cold that it is fairly quickly freezing that buttercream as you're piping it on. So you want to work fairly quickly if you want to get it nice and smooth. Fortunately for us, a Little Debbie's Christmas tree pastry does not have a super smooth texture. It's actually kind of bumpy and rough, so we don't have to get this perfect, and it is still going to look, and more importantly, taste amazing anyway. Oh, and for anybody who's curious, that is just a flexible plastic smoother which works great for getting in all those nooks and crannies that I'm using to smooth the outside. Alright, now that we finished the sides, it's time to fill in the top, and we're just going to quickly fill this in because, as I said, this cake is melting as we go, so we need to work quickly. And now once I get that all filled in, I'm going to smooth it out using my small offset spatula. And you guys can find links to any of the tools that I used in the making of this video, as well as so many of my all-time favorite baking tools down in that description box below. And you guys, these are affiliate links, so I do not get paid if you click, only if you buy. But if you do buy, as always, thank you so much for helping support my channel. It really helps it grow. And I should also mention, I don't sponsor or endorse any of these products. I just really like them, and I wanted to pass on the tip to all of you. Alright guys, now once you've finished smoothing out all your sides and sharpening your corners and you're happy with how everything looks, you're going to throw your cake back into the freezer. Actually, don't throw it. Lay it in there very gently. And we're going to put that in there for about another 15 to 20 minutes while we prepare our final touches. So the first decorative feature I need to replicate are the squiggly red lines across the top of the Little Debbie's cakes. So I've mixed up a little bit of red American buttercream, and we're going to fill a small piping bag with a number 4 round piping tip. And now that we have that filled, we're going to move on to the sparkly green sugar that decorates the top of the Little Debbie's cakes. Now, I don't actually have any green sanding sugar myself, so we're going to make some, and I'm using some Wilton Kelly green to color it. Now, this process is a very similar process to coloring a sugar sheet. If you guys haven't seen that before, I do have some videos that I will link down below, but it's a very simple concept. You just take a small dab of the color you're choosing, insert that into the bag of sugar, and then you're going to seal up the bag, leaving a little bit of air in the bag for everything to move around. And now you're going to take the bag and you're going to massage it between both hands to evenly distribute the gel food color all throughout the sanding sugar. And you can add as little or as much color as you need, but be careful not to add too much or it will add a little bit too much moisture and start to get clumpy on you. You want it to still be granulated and easy to sprinkle. And now this isn't quite as dark as I would like, so I added a little tiny bit more, and there you go. Easy peasy. Alright guys, time to finish up this cake. So I've got my piping bag and I've got my green sanding sugar ready to go, and now we're just going to pipe little red squiggly lines all across the cake and right down to the bottom. And we're just going to try to replicate the little pastry on the front of the Little Debbie's package. And as they say, hindsight is 20/20, because as I started piping this, I had wished I had used a bigger piping tip, so I definitely recommend using bigger than a 4. And now for the final touch, a little bit of sanding sugar, and now we can cut this bad boy open. It is going to look so good. Well, that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that big thumbs up button and leave me lots of love in the comment section too. And if you haven't done so already and you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you receive a notification every time I post a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a very happy holiday.